Hey guys, I love a good story and boy do I have one for you today. So you know how everyone's been talking about Joe Rogan's podcast? It's become this cultural phenomenon, right? Everyone from comedians to scientists to politicians wants a seat at his table. It's like the hottest ticket in town, right? People are lining up, and it's almost like getting into an exclusive club, the kind where you need to know someone who knows someone. Well, get this. Kamala Harris almost went on the show. Almost. Can you believe it? The Vice President of the United States, almost sitting down for one of those legendary Rogan chats. Word on the street is that Harris's team wanted to keep it short and sweet, like a quick coffee date. An hour, tops. They were thinking, let's get in, make our points and get out. But Joe, he's all about those deep dives, those marathon conversations that leave you feeling like you've known the guest for years. He wants to peel back the layers, get to the heart of the matter. Can you imagine Kamala trying to squeeze her talking points into a measly hour with Rogan? It'd be like trying to summarize a novel in a tweet. Impossible, right? It'd be like trying to fit a gallon of ice cream into a pint-sized container. You just know it's going to overflow and make a mess. Messy, hilarious, and probably not very satisfying for anyone involved. Imagine the chaos, the interruptions, the "wait, let me finish my point" moments. This whole situation is pure comedy gold, folks. It's like watching a stand-up routine where the punchline just keeps getting better. It's like a political sitcom waiting to happen. You have the serious political figure, the laid-back podcast host, and a ticking clock. It's the perfect recipe for some high-stakes hilarity. Stay tuned, because this story is just getting started. Who knows, maybe one day we'll actually see Kamala and Joe in the same room, mics on, ready to dive deep. Now that would be a show worth watching. Now, for those of you who haven't experienced the magic of a Joe Rogan podcast, let me break it down for you. It's not your average interview, folks. Oh no, this is long-form, deep thought, let's talk about aliens and the meaning of life kind of stuff. We're talking 3, 4, sometimes even 5-hour conversations. Guests get comfy, they open up, they spill the tea. It's like eavesdropping on the most fascinating dinner party conversation ever. So you can see why Kamala's 1-hour proposition might have thrown a wrench in the works. It's like asking Usain Bolt to run a 100-meter dash in slow motion. It just doesn't compute. Of course, our former commander-in-chief, Donald Trump, couldn't resist chiming in on the whole Rogan-Harris saga. During his own marathon session on the podcast, Trump threw a few playful jabs Kamala's way. Can you imagine Kamala on that show? Trump chuckled. Joe would eat her lunch. Now, whether you're on Team Trump or Team anyone but Trump, you gotta admit, the man knows how to deliver a punchline. And let's be real, the thought of Kamala trying to keep up with Rogan's free-flowing style is pretty darn entertaining. So, while Joe was busy chatting it up with Trump, where was Kamala? Oh, just hanging out with Beyoncé at a rally in Houston. You know, casual Friday night stuff. Beyoncé, Queen Bey herself, singing, dancing, endorsing Kamala. It was the hottest ticket in town, and even Joe Rogan couldn't compete with that. I mean, come on. Who needs a podcast when you've got Beyoncé in your corner? It's like choosing between a regular cheeseburger and a gold-plated, truffle-infused Wagyu beef burger. No contest. Section 5. The Great Podcast Escape. Why Harris might be dodging Rogan. Now, I'm not saying Kamala's afraid of Joe Rogan. Okay, maybe a little. But let's dive deeper into why she might be avoiding his show. But can you blame her? Rogan's podcast isn't just any interview. It's a marathon of conversation, often lasting for hours. Rogan's got this uncanny ability to get people to open up, to reveal their true selves. It's not just about the questions he asks, but how he asks them. He creates an environment where guests feel comfortable, almost too comfortable, to say things they didn't even know they were thinking. It's like a therapy session, but with millions of listeners. It's like truth serum in audio form. And for a politician, that's a double-edged sword. And let's be real, politicians aren't exactly known for their love of unscripted moments. They thrive on control, on delivering a message that's been meticulously crafted. They like their talking points pre-approved, their sound bites perfectly polished. Every word is weighed, every sentence rehearsed. Rogan's podcast is the opposite of that. It's raw, it's unpredictable, and it's a space where the usual rules don't apply. And it's probably a little terrifying for someone who's used to controlling the narrative. Imagine being in a setting where you can't predict the next question, where your guard is down, and where millions are listening. It's a high-stakes game, and not everyone is willing to play. Section 6, Rogan's laid-back style versus Harris's tight schedule, a recipe for humor. Another reason this whole situation is so hilarious. The clash of styles. Joe's all about that chill California vibe. Think tie-dye shirts, barefoot conversations, and maybe a little weed smoke wafting in the background. Kamala, on the other hand, is all business. She's got places to be, people to see, votes to secure. Can you imagine her trying to relax and riff with Rogan while her team frantically checks their watches? It'd be like watching a cat try to herd sheep. Pure chaos. Section 7. The internet reacts memes, jokes, and Twitter explosions. As you can imagine, the internet had a field day with this whole Rogan-Harris debacle. Memes were created, jokes were told, and Twitter nearly imploded under the weight of all the hot takes. My personal favorite? A photoshopped image of Kamala sitting in Rogan's studio, but instead of a microphone, she's holding a giant stopwatch. Classic! It just goes to show you folks that sometimes truth is stranger and funnier than fiction. Section 8. Could this be the start of a beautiful friendship, or at least a hilarious rivalry? Now, who knows? Maybe one day Kamala will conquer her fear and take the Rogan plunge. Maybe they'll bond over their shared love of policy, or maybe just their mutual appreciation for a good laugh. Either way, I'm calling it now. This is the beginning of a beautiful, hilarious, and slightly awkward relationship. Stay tuned, folks, because you know I'll be here to break it all down for you. Section 9, the political comedy show continues. What's next for Rogan, Harris, and Trump? So there you have it, folks. The Joe Rogan Experience, Kamala Harris, and Donald Trump, all tangled up in a web of comedy gold. Who knows what hilarious hijinks they'll get up to next? Will Kamala ever brave the podcast booth? Will Trump make a surprise guest appearance? Will Joe Rogan finally achieve world domination through the power of long-form conversation? Only time will tell, my friends. Only time will tell. Section 10. In the world of politics and podcasts, laughter is the best policy. But one thing's for sure, in these crazy, unpredictable times, we need laughter more than ever. And whether it's Joe Rogan's off-the-cuff humor, Kamala Harris's side-eye glances, or Donald Trump's, well, Donald Trumpness, there's no shortage of comedic material to keep us entertained. So, let's all take a deep breath, embrace the absurdity, and remember to laugh along the way. After all, it's either laugh or cry, right? And I, for one, choose laughter. Section 11. The final act. Will Kamala conquer the Rogan Experience? This is the question on everyone's mind as we approach what could be a pivotal moment in modern media and politics. The anticipation is palpable, and the stakes are higher than ever. Will Kamala rise to the occasion and face the challenge head-on, or will she choose to stay within her comfort zone? And who knows, maybe, just maybe, this whole Rogan-Harris saga will have a happy ending. Imagine the headlines, the social media buzz, and the countless memes that would flood the internet. It could be a moment of unity, a rare instance where different worlds collide and create something truly memorable. Maybe Kamala will finally take the plunge, conquer her fear of the unknown, and emerge from that podcast studio a changed woman. Picture her walking into the studio, nerves tingling, but with a determined look in her eyes. The conversation could be groundbreaking, touching on topics that matter to millions of people. It could be a defining moment in her career, showing a side of her that the public has never seen before. Or maybe, just maybe, she'll stick to her rallies and her Beyoncé concerts, leaving Joe Rogan to his long-form conversations and his ever-growing legion of fans. After all, everyone has their own strengths and comfort zones. Kamala's rallies are electrifying, and her presence at concerts shows her relatable side. Perhaps that's where she truly shines, and there's no shame in that. Either way, one thing's for sure. The world is watching, and the internet is waiting. The digital age has made it so that every move, every decision is scrutinized and discussed endlessly. The potential for viral moments is enormous, and the impact on public opinion could be significant. Will this be a turning point, or just another chapter in the ongoing saga? So, Kamala, if you're out there, just know that we're all rooting for you. Whether you decide to take on the Rogan Experience, or continue to blaze your own trail, you have a legion of supporters who believe in you. Your journey has been inspiring, and we can't wait to see what you do next. Or at least we're all eagerly awaiting the next chapter in this hilarious political comedy. The twists and turns have kept us on the edge of our seats, and the blend of humor and drama is nothing short of captivating. It's a story that has something for everyone, and we can't help but be drawn in. And that's our show for tonight, folks. We've had a blast exploring the possibilities and speculating on what might happen next. The world of politics and media is ever-changing, and we are here to bring you the latest and greatest moments. Tune in next time for more laughs, more fun, and more of the crazy, unpredictable world we call home. Good night, everybody. Until then, keep the conversations going, keep the laughter flowing, and remember, the best is yet to come.